Hey guys, welcome to Sports in the Podcast. This is where a group of guys who we all met through some random Facebook groups for uh, random things, we decided that we are going to do a sports podcast. We're a group of guys from all over the world, actually. We have a couple of people that live internationally, and we talk about sports and just kind of give our takes and opinions on it. We have everything today from fantasy overrated picks to stuff about Antonio Brown, the Andrew Luck retirement. Should the Cowboys pay Zeke, Amari, and Dak? To takes on the Lakers signed Dwight Howard on Kobe Bryant's birthday. It'll be really cool. You guys should check us out. Hello and welcome to the Sports Den, the podcast. I'm Jonathan. I am from rural Arkansas, but I love my Cowboys, my Houston Rockets, and I'm ready to talk some sports. So let's kick it over to the rest of the guys for some intros. We'll start with Brian.
Hey guys, my name's Brian, born in Buffalo, diehard Bills fan since, they were good, which was a long time ago. But grew up in Wisconsin, so Bucks, Badgers, Brewers, the rest of it. I just want to talk crap about the Patriots. That's why I'm here. Hey, let's kick it over to Kyle.
Hey, this is Kyle. I'm out here in Oregon. I root for all things bad. So I root for the Blazers. I root for the Beavers, the Buccaneers, and the Orioles. If you haven't won a title in a long time, you're probably my team. So let's kick it over to Ben.
Hi, I'm Ben. I live in Arizona now, but I'm a native to Colorado, and I grew up a big Colorado sports fan, and I bleed all of the colors in Colorado sports. The other big one is mid-major basketball. Mid-major is where it's at. It's where real basketball is played. That's my other care about. I'm going to go ahead and kick it over to Jordan.
So I'm Jordan. I grew up in West Africa, and so I was always taller than everybody, and I was also white, and so I grew up rooting for the tall, awkward white guy from Dallas. So I have been a Mavs fan since I was 4 years old. And Dirk just retired, so it's kind of changed my whole worldview. But I'm still a Mavs fan. And I'm going to kick it over to Addison.
So Addison can't be here today, so I'm gonna pretend to be Addison. Cardinals, Cowboys. We need to cut Zeke because he's becoming too much of a distraction. All right, so it's Addison's birthday, so he had to be with family. But let's go ahead and let's launch right into our first topic. Jordan, what do we got?
So obviously it's the NFL. So the NFL is here. So we have a few NFL topics. First off, we want to talk about who is the most overrated fantasy player.
Ooh.
Saquon Barkley, 100%.
Stop it.
No.
He is primed to be a huge mistake pick because there is no offensive line there right now. I think he's primed to hurt himself. Like, if I'm thinking that. Also, Zeke, don't take Zeke this year. Like, my wife in our fantasy league last year took Le'Veon Bell with the number 1 overall pick, and it was brutal. It was brutal because the day after our draft, he announced he was holding out. It was so brutal. Mm-hmm.
No. For me, honestly, it's David Johnson.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a fan of the Kingsbury offense. He wasn't successful. Yep. He wasn't successful in college. I don't think he's going to be successful in the NFL. I personally like Kyler Murray and maybe David Johnson next season once there's some continuity there. But honestly, I drafted David Johnson last year and I paid for it. And actually, in another league, I drafted Le'Veon Bell first overall as well, and then I took Aaron Rodgers in the third round. So and they both, it was just horrible. So
well, see,
Yeah.
now see that goes to mine. My pick is Le'Veon Bell. I can't see Le'Veon Bell actually showing. Everything I'm seeing has got him at top 10. Every mock I'm seeing is getting him picked no later than 8. This is a guy who didn't play last year. He didn't play. He's got a year of rust he's got to knock off. Who else has ever taken a full year off without playing that actually came back as, wow, this guy is even better. On top of that, he's got motivation issues. This is a guy who willingly said, no, I'm not going to play football. Does he still even have the competitive fire?
I'll second. I want to piggyback on
that.
I want to piggyback on that. And the thing is, too, is you got to understand the Jets' schedule against the defenses they're going to be playing this year.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, I know I'm a homer and I know I'm a Bills fan. It was the second-rated defense in the league last year, and we just got Ed Oliver out of Houston. So you're going to play Buffalo twice a year. You're going to play the Patriots twice a year in that run defense. And then we also play the AFC North. You've got the Ravens defense and the Browns defense. The Jets' schedule when it comes to run defense, I would stay away from Le'Veon as well.
I would stay away from Le'Veon because there's no one else to take the pressure on the offense too.
Boy, you look at the schedule. I will disagree a little bit with that, Brian. I mean, I've got it pulled up here. They're tied for second easiest. My choice is going to be Odell is getting drafted far too high for a completely unknown situation. You're talking about going to a place where Baker has never had expectations. You've got Freddie Kitchens, who was never even going from the coach to being the guy. You are a team of hotheads, and the potential is there. If he blows up, no one's going to doubt it, but his draft position versus your steady, well-known places. I mean, we can agree your Holdout, your Antonios, your Melvins, your Zekes, those guys should all be absolutely avoided on any draft unless you feel confident picking them up in somewhere between the 5th to 7th round if they slide there to you.
And that's the other big thing about
most of those guys won't be there.
Mm-hmm.
When we're talking overrated players, there's a time and place to pick every player. I mean, if you're sitting there in the second, later in the second round and you see Zeke is still there, pull that trigger. Get Zeke in the second. If it's the third round and AB's there, you know what? Pull that trigger. Go for it. But it's not.
Hey, we're talking about AB. That's actually the next topic on our list. Was to talk about him and helmetgate. So some of you guys have said you've been saving up some fire takes. So let's hear them.
Yeah. So real quick, as a Bills fan, can I just say it is sweet. Okay, so we go to trade for this guy, and then he comes out and is like, I don't want to play for the Bills, in so many words or whatever, and something about it's too stinking cold there, and I'm using different words than he used.
Oh, I forgot that.
And then
he's not wrong.
Here's the thing.
He's not.
He's not wrong.
He's not wrong.
But then he goes to Oakland and he gets frostbite on his feet, and I'm laughing so hard, and I am so happy that happened. It couldn't have happened to a better guy. That's all I'm saying. So I'm glad we don't. I remember waking up. It was like 5 a.m. and my phone was just absolutely going off. And the Bills traded for AB. The Bills traded for AB, and I'm like, oh. And I was happy for a second. Then later that day, it didn't happen. And after I sat back and thought about it, I was like, if there's anything that's going to ruin a young quarterback's confidence, it's an Antonio Brown type of receiver. Demand to be force-fed the ball. So you guys go backwards.
Which to go backwards is why I'm really worried about the Baker Odell fit. I'm way worried about that too, because Odell is prime time. He thinks he's the best. I think it was the best thing in the world for the Cowboys to get rid of Dez Bryant and bring in Amari Cooper, because the characteristics difference between the two people's attitudes is just massive. Dak Prescott, I think, is a thoroughly average quarterback. I think he's just pretty well average.
Yeah.
Nothing to write home about. But you can win a Super Bowl with an average quarterback as long as you got good things around him. Joe Flacco.
Dak Prescott's Ryan Tannehill with some weapons. Like that's.
Yeah, that's a good.
Anybody got anything else to say about helmetgate?
The AB thing. Go ahead, Kyle.
Yeah. So for me, it's an intriguing option as to the why behind it. I mean, you look at the studies, you look at the push for safeties. And it's things ever since Terry Long in 2005 committed suicide by drinking antifreeze, and you realize that CTE is a real inevitable thing. To see somebody try to hold out when the NFL is clearly pushing to rewrite a narrative that they care, that they want their players to live for the long haul. And then you have somebody who says, I don't care what happens to my brain by using an inferior and defective product. And just from what we see, that in 5 to 10 years, he's going to show the signs of CTE, and then he's going to then come after them. And you'll be looking at this moment and be like, no, they tried to do everything they could to help keep you safe as much as possible, and you are throwing safety and precaution and science into the wind for comfort. And it's
the position that's going to get tackled the most.
Well, I think it's
running back, bro.
Well, that's true. But I mean, it's not like he doesn't get
that
tackled.
kind of gives to what I was thinking of. I mean, I know we left, with the frostbite stuff, and that was funny. But I think we've officially, with Antonio Brown, it stopped being funny.
Yeah.
This is now someone when I look at him not as a football player but as a fellow person, I'm worried about him. That if there's a CTE maybe or something else, but I'm really worried about him. He's not behaving logically or rationally. He's not making logical or rational statements. In any other case, we see those are red flags that we need to look at and be. This guy. I mean, I'm not a doctor. I don't do these, but this guy needs help, and it's not. It's not. To get him on the football field. No, this guy needs help because there's something going on with him.
I mean, he basically kind of has that Kanye West feel to him right now, where it's just like, dude, he's crazy out there, and then he goes and like dyes his mustache blonde, which is was like, what's your sign? He's not all that.
Well, speaking of crazy and out there, we've got, Dak Prescott was brought up earlier, and he decided that he's worth $30 million a year.
Not so.
No.
So as we don't have all of our Cowboys fans here, but I do. I'm having some major sound issues, so I'm going to correct those. But if one of you guys wants to go ahead and say anything about Dak and his delusion,
okay.
If you can start on that.
I'm going to be our I looked this up earlier, and it's quarterback salaries for what we've got here. So, number one, Dak wants $40 million. That's $5 million a year more than Russell Wilson, who is the highest paid quarterback. It's not happening. It is just not happening. The Cowboys counter-offered with about $30 million a year, which is right between 28 and 30 million a year. That's where people I feel like are in his talent range but are overpaid if that makes sense. Like your Kirk Cousins, your Jimmy G's, your Matt Staffords, your guys that are in that kind of same talent range but just make too much money.
Right.
So I think 30 million is doable for him. I don't know if you can pay him 30 million, give Zeke what he wants, and keep Amari. And then you're also going to have to pay DeMarcus Lawrence and Leighton Vander Esch. I just don't know that you keep all of the ones that you need.
I think
while paying him $30 million.
I think Jerry Jones was making a statement when he signed Jalen Smith last week or 2 weeks ago. Basically, what I think he's saying, Jalen Smith's a hometown guy. He loves being for the Cowboys. He's a team-first guy. And I think Jerry Jones was kind of rubbing it in the face of Zeke and even Dak, just saying, listen, like, if you're not about the Cowboys, you're not going to get paid. And I feel like guys like Zeke, now, not so much Dak. I think Dak is probably a better person than Zeke is as far as just loyalty and all that stuff. I mean, Zeke was a first round pick. Dak was a third round pick, wasn't supposed to do much, and sat behind Romo, and it was a nice story. Where Zeke comes in and he's a diva. But I think what Jerry Jones is saying is like, listen, like, I have the best offensive line in football, arguably. I don't need to pay you that much money. We can stick anyone back there, and they're gonna get 1,000 yards. Yes, Zeke, you are talented, and I don't talk about Dak right now, but just yes, it feels kind of like the Joe Flacco situation when he signed when he won the Super Bowl, he got that huge contract.
Yeah.
Now, was he that talented? No, but he won a Super Bowl. If Dak goes and wins, then even if he's not that talented, even if he's not Russell Wilson or Aaron Rodgers, if Dak brings the Cowboys a Super Bowl, first of all, then we have to hear the Cowboy fans talk for the next 30 years because they're still talking about the 90s. But if the Cowboys win the Super Bowl, yes, pay him.
By the way, how many of those consecutive Super Bowls did the Bills win, by the way?
We have 4 back-to-back AFC championships, all right?
Yeah.
So back-to-back Super Bowl losses.
So to come in on this concept.
Almost as many as the consecutive missed playoffs, but
17, babe.
Mr. Jones, that's a guy who loves taking shots and taking chances and is addicted to the hype. The one thing that I would love to see him do and really be something that's genuinely a progressive spot is to go forth and there's my kiddo to go forth a franchise running back. Just stick with the line. Just ignore all of it.
I think what's crazy, I mean, from Brian, you're just basically like, it's not, I mean, you didn't directly, but this is Jerry Jones we're talking about. We can assume if a general manager is Jerry Jones, we can assume he's wrong, no matter what it is. If Jerry Jones says the sky is blue, we need to look out because the sky just turned green. He's always wrong. So, and he always wants to make everything about him. So if he can find a way, and that's how Dak should be bringing this, is find some way. Hey, here's how you pay me, and it makes you look good.
Jerry Jones tried to draft Johnny Manziel, and they literally had to rip the card out of his hand so they could go get Zach Martin.
Exactly. That's this guy, and so if he comes to a point where he realizes, wait, I can be the guy with the highest paid quarterback. You know what? I know he's arguing about it now, but I think he's going to see that that's some kind of prestige. And at the end of the day, the biggest thing, and this might be a slight Stephen A. Smith take or whatever, but you know what? You're worth what though someone's going to pay you.
You only get what you can ask for with a straight face.
If I'm going to sit there, I cannot tell you right now with a straight face and say, you know what? When Dak gets his contract, he's not going to make $40. No, I think there's a very, very good chance he signs for the Cowboys for $40 million because having the highest paid quarterback is going to make Jerry Jones think that's going to make him seem better. And you know what? As the price goes up on quarterback, that's what happens every year is the price on quarterback goes up. The price on quarterback goes up. Every year we have this conversation about some quarterback who there's no way they deserve that much money, and all of a sudden they get him. Is $40 million for Dak the next one?
What are you going to do when Byron Jones' contract comes up and Leighton Vander Esch's contract comes up? Like, those are 2 stud defensive players that you are literally not going to be able to re-sign. You have a very small window right now. The Cowboys' defense is good for the first time in a long time, and you need to lock those guys down. If you're paying Dak 40, paying Zeke 30, and then Amari's going to want his, you got your triplets, right? You got your Smith and Aikman and Irving, but you have nothing else after that.
Yeah.
Defense wins championships, but offense gets TV deals. And a best offense is what's going to keep
Jerry Jones just cares about, like, as I'm a Cowboys fan through and through, long suffering for Jerry Jones. It is one of the worst things about it. I was an Oilers fan until they moved, and then the Texans were so bad I could never. Finally, they're decent, but I still can't root for them because I spent a few years thinking the GM might need to face attempted murder charges on David Carr for no offensive line there.
That's the truth. Now, I've got the Cowboys cap pulled up for next year. Before anybody shows up, they only have $67 million left for everything. They cannot genuinely, legitimately afford to re-sign the three of them in any capacity at all. They won't be able to sign their own draft picks. They won't be able to fill additional needs that pop up because the NFL, until there's the lockout in 2 years, that's my hot take. But until that happens, with this hard cap, everyone looks at the NBA and they all can be contract, and that can't happen because the league isn't set up that way. The only nice thing is that you are looking at Jones, and somebody inevitably who's smart gets to him. You mentioned that with the Manziel thing. Somebody who's the adult inevitably comes in and fixes his problems. And I don't know how much longer they keep letting Grandpa Jones keep doing the things that he does until they move it down to the next row of succession. But, you know, Jerry's world it's a dying, archaic one. And me personally, I would really love to see him just say, hey, we're going to write out first-year picks, and then we're going to flip them, and we're going to keep the salary extremely low. Rookie quarterbacks are more advanced now than they've ever been. You are seeing freshmen start in NCAA games, which was unheard of.
Yeah.
They're not just starting against nobody.
Not just start, win national championships.
They're starting against Alabama. Yes, this notion that you have to have experienced QBs. The QBs of this modern era are so much better. Don't pay Dak. Dak is mediocre and fledgling. As a Buccaneers fan, I can tell you, you win with Brad Johnson, but you don't re-sign Brad Johnson. You don't set a ring, and then you go get the next guy and try to keep your core intact for as long as possible.
Yeah.
And you hope you don't have
How many
John
Super
Gruden
Bowls
as
did
your
that
coach,
run
'cause he'll screw it
result
up.
into?
Well, because John Gruden. I don't understand why the Raiders got so excited bringing back Gruden, who's a train wreck.
Raiders gonna Raider.
So you guys have brought up, you guys are talking about moving on from quarterbacks. I want to talk about a quarterback who decided to move on. So what are you guys' takes on Luck? I'm just going to go ahead and say it. I think he made the right decision. If I could retire in just 4 more years and be that set for life, and I was looking at, getting sacked however many times and having to deal with all these concussions and anything that can happen, I probably would retire too. If I could retire at 29 and totally be able to take care of my family for the next couple of generations, I'd retire at 29.
He's not retiring. He's going to sit the season out. He's coming back. Yeah. I can almost guarantee it. I just don't see how somebody who is that gifted, he loves the game of football. The dude's beat up. There's no doubt. And I think I think he needed to retire to just literally step away from the game so that he could not just rehab his body, but rehab his mind. He's been beat up. The offensive line has not been good in Indianapolis. Quentin Nelson pick could be a Pro Bowler, could be, that he's going to be good. But just generally, the dude was sacked. I don't have the numbers in front of me, but it was like David Carr-esque numbers over the last 4 years. Yeah. So I think he sits the season out, and I think he comes back next season.
Elway will be in his ear talking about him.
So those numbers are bad.
Yeah, that's a good
They
point.
are David Carr level bad. There's another element too that no one's talking about. He's not only a smart guy, he's Stanford educated, and you don't get into Stanford like you do playing UNC basketball. You actually have to qualify for the school.
He
And
graduated
there,
as a
he
junior.
is also expected, in the architectural program. And he's having his first kid in like 3 or 4 months. You look at his injury history, and then you also look at the fact that he's a percentage owner in that Body Armor sports drink, which is exploding. It is picking up sponsorship deals left and right. And he's a percentage owner. So not only does he have his offset money from being a spokesman for Subway, he is a percentage owner in this. And at that point, family is the quintessential thing. And you're going to see the birth of his daughter come out. Will he come back? Maybe. I'm not as for certain because he's smart and he's looking at the injuries of people. He's seen CTE and he wants to have a relationship with his kid. And I can't fault him for that. You saw my kid a moment ago. I love my daughter.
Well, speaking of his family relationships, do we think he'll go with his dad to the XFL at any point?
No.
Oh, God.
No. Okay. So I'm gonna jump.
I was thinking as a coach, not as a player.
I'm gonna jump.
If he's coaching, he's coaching at Stanford.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good point.
I'm gonna jump back to what Brian said. Okay. So we just had a situation like this over this year. Benjamin Watson's going to serve out a suspension because after retirement, he was allowed to use certain substances, and then he decided to not retire. So now he has to serve out a suspension. And Andrew Luck is going to be able to do things because he is retired that will help his body get right that he would not be allowed to do while rehabbing.
I just watched a video of Rob Gronkowski endorsing CBD oils as a way for him to heal. Now, listen, I'm not advocating anything or get into but there are all I'm trying to say is there are remedies and things that the NFL has no-node that these guys are going to be able to use to heal up. And honestly, if they're trying to find a way to game the rules in order to get their bodies right, and a trend, you could see players retiring, doing the Ricky Williams thing and then unretiring, so
they've been doing this in tennis for years. Andre Agassi would retire, gain 20 pounds, and come back a year and a half later.
Yeah.
Well, another element of this take that I kind of think we should look at was I think there's two separate groups of fans, or at least I have opinions of two separate groups of fans. I heard everyone ripping the fans in Indianapolis for booing him. I have absolutely no problem with the fans in Indianapolis in that game booing him, because this is a guy, you haven't heard anything, you got the announcement, nothing else. We can either ignore what happened before with the announcement, but no, these are guys who are frustrated. He was supposed to be he was John Elway. He was the most pro-ready prospect since John Elway. He's supposed to take you to Super Bowls, not just multiple, into his 40s, not retiring at 30. So I get why those fans were.
He's supposed to replace
booing.
Peyton Manning.
Yeah, he's supposed to replace Peyton Manning.
Like the good Manning, not.
Yeah. It's so there's that, but now the ones that get me is the people that since he gave his announcement, once he gave his reasonings and everything before, these are the people that okay, you need to just be done. Like stop ripping him. No, he's made his piece. Once you've heard him explain, before you've heard him explain, boo him. He let you down in that moment as a fan. If you are an Indianapolis Colts fan who's willing to pay for preseason tickets, you're a big time fan, and you wanted to be able to chance. You believe deep down in your team, and all of a sudden you just had the rug pulled out from you. You know what? Go ahead and boo. You have every right to boo, but it's the afterwards. And I know it was kind of a little bit on our list of the Gottlieb take.
You're only allowed to boo Raymond Felton. That's the only person you can boo.
But I mean, yeah.
Well,
the
actually,
biggest one we hit of,
speaking of people that we can boo,
Raymond Felton.
Speaking of people we can boo, I know you like to boo Raymond Felton, but our next topic is about the best sports player to retire this year, and I know that a lot of you might have a take of someone, but he is legitimately one of the only people that I have ever booed watching. Obviously, the best player to retire this year was Dirk Nowitzki. It's not even close. and it was definitely Dirk. And if you have a different answer, you're wrong. But go ahead and give me your takes.
No. It's clearly the person that you put not. It's absolutely Dwayne Wade. Unequivocally Dwayne Wade. He built the Miami team. He had 2 separate runs getting to the finals. He, in every measure, in basketball sense, in pop culture sense, he owned it.
Was he ever the best player on the team, though?
Yes. Yeah.
I would say
the best player on a championship-winning team.
I would say he was better than Shaq when he won it with Shaq.
He was better than Shaq at that point in Shaq's career.
Yeah, at that point in Shaq's career, I think he was.
He may have been better, but Shaq was the difference. Shaq's not on that team, they don't win.
No.
They replace him with any other sitter, they don't win.
Yeah. And if LeBron
That's a fair statement,
is not
but
on
it doesn't.
the Heat,
yeah, but there was
nothing.
But 2006 was like the driest of dry times for the center position in the NBA.
If Dwayne Wade doesn't average 18 free throws a game, they don't win.
Yeah.
Sorry, but he averaged 18 free throws a game, including ones where there was nobody in the paint and he was alone in the paint, and then they were just like, and one. Even though Josh Howard was still in half court. Like, he was on the other side of the court, and they're like, foul on Josh Howard. Sorry.
Show me where Dwayne Wade hit you. Show me where Dwayne hit you.
He hit me right in the championship ring. That's where he hit me.
Is the question all sports? Or are we just talking basketball?
I'm just talking about sports in general. This year, who's the best person to retire?
So this is going to hurt me to say this, but I have to go with Gronk.
Agreed.
Gronk.
That's actually a good point.
Has to be the person who had the biggest impact on their sport.
Yeah.
I would have to go with Gronk.
And not just biggest impact. There were receiving tight ends before. I'm a Broncos fan. I grew up watching Shannon Sharp. There were receiving tight ends. And then there was Gronk, who completely and utterly changed the way the game was played from a tight. You thought, oh no, we've already got receiving tight ends. You can't change it further. No, Gronk was an offensive lineman.
Yeah.
Nearly a guard running down with amazing hands and speed. He was uncoverable. And now that's what we look for there. Looking at fantasy drafts. No, Kelsey is a top one. Why is Kelsey a top pick? Because Gronk existed.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing about Gronk, and I think you alluded to it, and I want to kind of jump on that. If you go rewatch the Super Bowl, which was the most boring Super Bowl I've watched in a long time, it was horrible. But Gronk didn't catch that many passes, but he absolutely dominated in the run game. Like when they laid
people out.
They were putting him at fullback. They put him at tight end. He was running. He was almost like another tackle on the field, and they didn't pass to him very much. I don't think he had that 2 catches maybe in that whole game. I don't know what it was.
Yeah, wasn't much.
But what I'm saying is, I don't. As much as I hate to say that, I have a lot of respect for Gronk. Because I think, and I know that Tony Gonzalez may have something to say and Jason Witten might have something to say, but I think Gronk could be in the argument for the best tight end ever.
If he hadn't retired now, he would be.
I think he's top 3.
I don't think he put up a long enough career to get him there.
Yeah, there's the longevity issue, but football is becoming a game where longevity is just not. Well, you can't even say that because Jim Brown retired at 29. So, it's always been longevity has just not really been a football thing.
If we're ranking greatest tight ends of all time, though, you've got guys who did it for a long. I remember going back to Shannon Sharp.
Yeah,
Shannon Sharp retired 2 years early, but even then, it's like no, he has this long career that he can brought up beforehand. Gonzalez has this. Antonio Gates, did he actually retire yet?
Nope, he's still on the Chargers.
No, yeah, he's on the Chargers.
He's still on the team, and I can't remember a time when he wasn't on the Chargers.
Because of Hunter Henry's ACL, that's the only reason he's still there.
Yeah. So my question here, this isn't actually on our rundown, but so I think we're all in agreement that Gronk is Hall of Fame, obviously.
Yes. Oh yeah.
Yeah. I think we're all in agreement that Dirk, first ballot Hall of Fame.
Yes.
Wade, first ballot Hall of Fame.
First ballot.
Reluctantly admit that Dwayne Wade is the 4th best shooting guard of all time. I reluctantly admit it.
3, 2, 1.
What'd you say?
3-2-1 would be Harden, Kobe, and Jordan, and Jordan would be 3-2-1 in two guards.
I was actually not counting Harden. I was saying West, because Jerry West played two guard until Gail Goodrich got there, and so
I don't know that
I count West as a two guard. He also played forward during college.
He's the freaking logo, so.
I just think of West as a point. I think of West as a one. That's my only argument was that.
But it's definitely, it's Jordan, Kobe, West, and Wade. And if
there's no way
it's hard for me to put, it's hard for me to put Harden. I mean, I don't know who else you would put in that list.
I think if Harden played more defense, you could probably put him up there a little bit, but.
Yeah. And we're also getting into a case of the game is changing so much. We're getting to a point to start compare, because I think there's a very, very good chance that Thompson is going to be, if we're looking at sheer points, a guy that's draining threes like that. What's the biggest mark against Dwayne Wade? Well, he wasn't the best 3-point shooter. Well, it's because when he started playing, that wasn't.
You have to look at people based on what they played against the competition they have. You have to look at it that way.
And he's going to be in a weird case where he's positioned in between eras. So he's kind of at the end. He got into the game at the end of one era.
Yeah.
And then now all of a sudden the game has changed entirely, where your shooting guard is in college ranks. It's happening everywhere. Your shooting guard is the guy who's supposed to find his way to get open really quick, hit it, and then hit a catch and shoot three. Like, that's the shooting guard job now. And that wasn't Dwayne Wade.
And Wade played in the most boring era of NBA basketball possible. The early 90s was the worst.
No, the early 2000s.
That's what I meant. I meant early 2000s.
Okay, how long has Wade been playing?
He's old.
I meant early 2000s, guys.
Dang, no wonder he retired.
Here's the thing.
Early 2000s is awful.
I want to put Vince Carter in this conversation, but the dude's still playing.
Well, Vince Carter, AI, those were the other two that I was thinking could be in. A lot of people say Pistol Pete Maravich.
Yeah, but AI.
The problem with Pistol
AI,
is he didn't make.
Guard?
No, AI was point guard.
AI
guard. When he won his MVP, he was a two guard. He moved to two guard.
Eric Snow is not a point guard.
That's fair.
Thank you.
He was designated as a two, but that's a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well,
let's move on.
Let's move on.
While we're talking about people who the game's kind of left behind.
Yeah. Good segue. That was exactly word for word what my segue was going to be.
Guys, the Lakers on Kobe Bryant's birthday signed Dwight Howard.
They couldn't have waited one more day. Like, I get that they kind of almost had to sign Howard because they needed somebody, but they couldn't have waited one more day.
Did they really though? That's my big take.
They needed a one.
They still have Kyle Kuzma. If I'm Kyle Kuzma, I want to trade. Get me out of there. You clearly hate me.
Kyle Kuzma can't play five. We learned that last year. Kyle Kuzma stunk as a five.
Yeah, but AD can play five.
But do you want AD, as injury prone as AD is, do you want him playing five all that much?
But they want to.
Go ahead, Kyle.
No, and you have to realize. You have to realize that AD does not want to play the five. Mm-hmm. AD's desire is to sit and to play the four. And if you're going to force him to play the five, he's going to leave and go to a place who says, hey, we will let you play the four where it's comfortable. He's in the West. He's got to be banging down low with the Jokic's, with the Capellas, with the Nurks. Those are big boys. And he's going to have to be seeing them 4 times minimum for his conference. He doesn't want to deal with that.
Let's just look at the fives in his division. You've got DeAndre Ayton. You've got Harry Giles or Dwayne Dedmon, whichever one wins that battle out to start. Both of which are big bruisers. You've got Nurkic when he's out. Whiteside's there. Wait, that's Northwest. That's a different division. But still, the Clippers have Zubac, who is a big bruiser. And then you've got
Montrez is their real one who's going to be playing.
Yeah, but Trez will beat the mess out of you too. So there's just, if I was AD and I'm in that division, I'm like, dude, let's get someone who can be big, throw their weight around. Even if I end up playing the bulk of the minutes, put that on the guy on the bruiser for at least 20 minutes a game.
Here's the thing. I think we're thinking about this the wrong way, though. Is basketball's moving to positionless basketball. It's not going to matter if he's a 4 or a 5 or whatever designation you want to put on him. Here's what I'm interested in. I know we're talking about Dwight Howard, but let's just AD for a second. Mm-hmm. I think the AD LeBron combination should be the best pick and roll of all time.
Yeah.
How are
theoretically
Luka and Kristaps?
This is a world where Stockton and Malone exist.
What's that?
This is a world where Stockton and Malone
take you're bringing there.
No,
and I'm sorry, but Luka and Kristaps are going to have something to say about that.
I'm sorry,
because they can pick and pop, and they can pick and roll.
Yeah.
And so the thing, AD, I don't think his outside shooting is good, but I don't think it's going to be as good as like Kristaps. Other thing too is
part of this. AD can be the ball handler in that pick and roll too.
Absolutely.
That can go both ways.
That's fair.
But the speed at which both of those guys move, LeBron, and I cannot stress this enough, the dude is old. Everyone in his draft class is retiring. He had an injury last year, and it is shocking that people just think that somehow, because he has great money and great trainers, that Father Time will pass him over. LeBron will continue to slow. Yeah, Father Time's undefeated for a reason. And LeBron and the Lakers, as much as people want to say they're going to make it, they are barely a 7 seed. Now, the thing going back to Dwight Howard, I actually love it because they got him to take a non-guaranteed deal.
Yeah.
That is incredible. The moment he acts up, you can cut him with no repercussions. And he's going to do Dwight Howard thing.
He is paid by the day.
Well,
it's not even there's like a guarantee date. He is paid by the day. So the moment someone else comes available, boom.
He's equal to the guy you pick up behind Home Depot. He's that guy in the NBA world.
Hey, hold on.
That's who Dwight Howard is now.
Crazy.
30 game last year?
Yes, he did.
No, okay, so Dwight played 9 games last year because he had a mysterious lower back, upper butt injury that we can talk about later.
Well,
but the year
before, it makes sense for Dwight Howard.
Whoa!
The year before,
that was not what I was meaning. But okay, I was meaning he's usually a pain in everyone else's butt.
I'm gonna cut that one off at the pass.
I was about to say, are we really going there?
We're going to move away from that. I might cut this in post.
Yeah, edit that part out.
We're posting this in the main group, guys. So,
okay, anyway, so here's the thing. Dwight Howard, 2 years ago for the Hornets, had a 30-30 game and averaged, 16 and 13?
Yeah.
And
his team cheered when he was traded.
And his team cheered when he got traded. I don't know how Dwight Howard I wanted to say he's the butt of all the NBA jokes, but I'm wanting to get away from butt. But anyway, I don't know that there's been a player in sports that has had the on-court production of a Dwight Howard and been so hated by the media.
AI.
I don't know that
teammates in media.
It's in media the same way.
Yeah.
I think coaching.
I think teammates stood up for AI a lot more than they stand up for Dwight. That's for sure.
You didn't see even when AI shifted to the Nuggets. AI on the Nuggets was still a liked guy when they had those Nuggets mellow.
Yeah, I do. I remember going to those
years
games,
ago.
And it was a fun place to be.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well,
we have one last topic, and we kind of got to get out of here because some of us have to go. But the last topic I want to talk about is sticking with basketball. sticking with teams that Dwight Howard didn't make, let's talk about the World Cup team. So are we going to win? Because I don't think the U.S. is in as good of a position as they normally are. Do we have a chance to win the Basketball World Cup?
We lost. Okay, so we lost to Australia. The first time in 78 games we've lost. First time in 78 games we've lost.
And Australia wasn't at full strength.
And Australia. Ben Simmons didn't play for Australia.
And neither did Ryan from accounting.
Did Bogut?
Ryan Brokoff wasn't playing either.
Okay, Jordan, your Mavs takes are way out of control right now.
Did Bogut play?
Did who play?
Bogut?
Bogut did, I think.
Yeah, I think Bogut played.
I think we lost Kyle.
Yeah, I think we did lose Kyle, but we'll close it up real quick.
We'll get him back in.
But
continue. Are we going to continue or?
Yeah, let's just keep going and.
Okay. Well, so I look at it this year. Absolutely, we're going to win. Like now, it's not going to be where years past where we win by 20 and people are doing 360 dunks, in the fourth. I don't think we're going to be there. I think we're going to be winning by 10. However, I will say that the year is coming soon where we're going to lose. Oh, yeah. And it's not going to be one of those Athens Olympics things where it's like a fluke. Oh man, we just kind of messed around. No. The year is coming soon where we're going to get beat. The rest of the world is getting really, really good, and American talent's not playing me. I'm a Nuggets fan. I love the Nuggets, but the fact that Plumlee is on this team is not a good sign.
Plumlee is the backup for the Nuggets. He's the backup. And I hate to say it, but we're playing against his starter, and his starter's really good.
Yeah, Plumlee's on this team, and that's not a good thing. I love Mason Plumlee. I think Plumlee, as a Nuggets fan, Plumlee and Jokic, they've all got this great thing going together. I love Plumlee, but no, it's not a good thing that he is representing the country. If we consider him the second best American center,
that
was available.
That's not good.
No,
that's fair.
I don't think we're going to end up well. Just got a text from Kyle. He's got tech issues, so he's going to be out.
I do think this is probably a good place to end it, though. We hit all of our things we were wanting to do. Do want to point out that we're going to have more topics. Addison will be back hopefully next time. We're going to stick to just 4 people. Hopefully from now on, see if that helps with some of our tech issues. But did anybody have anything they wanted to plug before we go, or?
No. Like and share us on social media. Get us some buzz going, guys.
Yeah, guys.
Swanson's communion wafers.
Communion wafers. All right.